Republicans or labor rules, it's mental illness. The internet is only interested in left opinions. Cancel culture's got more power lately than the First Amendment. If you don't like it, leave. We will not defund police. We don't want no riots in our neighborhoods or in the streets. We respect freedom of speech. We protect what we believe. We don't want nobody dead, so please do not tread on me. In America, if freedom ain't free. In America, got soldiers dying overseas. So America, you can say what we believe. My America, I won't ever take a knee. Our freedom is the reason you can disrespect our flag. If my stars and stripes offend you, then I'll help you pack your bags. America.
Good evening, America. How y'all doing? This is your friendly neighborhood bearded weirdo coming at you on proud as I always do. And with this magnificence upon my face. That's right, folks. That's right, folks. We are back here again to bring you some more knowledge, some more truth, and hopefully it is full of God. And the man that's going to help us do that in this topic of education today, bringing God back to education, is this man to my left over here, my brother, my compadre, my best friend, and as well as my pastor. He is the one, the only, the Pastor Gary Podosek. How are you doing today, brother?
We're going to get to me after we introduce.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And let's not forget the man. Well, he's controlling this starship that's going off the rails already. He's pushing the buttons. He's watching the numbers.
He's got to push the electric collar button more.
He is the man behind the curtain. He is our Wizard of Oz. He is Steve Cattell.
Hello there.
So how you guys doing today on this Tuesday here, March 14th?
You go first today.
I'm doing pretty good. Everything's well. Everything.
Your
feels
son
good.
is here.
Yeah, my son's
up.
here. He's been here since beginning of the month. He'll be here to the beginning of next month. So everything's been going
awesome.
Really great with them, and it's been great spending quality time with them. Absolutely.
Cool.
And you, brother?
Yeah, I mean, it's another day that ends in Y, so you can't complain about them.
That's right.
But
We can, but really, who's going to listen?
Yeah, since we're talking about education and we're talking about bringing God back to education, I mean, I think today we could just go right at the beginning. So I want everybody to turn your Bibles and I'm just so we're going to start with Genesis. I'm going to tell you how screwed up everybody is. Let's go.
All right, take out your textbooks.
Yeah.
Oh wait, they don't use textbooks anymore. Now the teachers make it up as they go along, and they use computer programs.
So, which is going to be kind of where we're going today. It's, I don't necessarily have the perfect insight to the system because I don't have young ones in the system.
I do.
But I'm very much connected to those who do. And especially with, the closeness that I have to just your kids in general.
Yep.
I mean, I'm like their uncle, for Pete's sake.
No. You're not like their uncle.
I am their uncle.
You are their uncle. Blood be darned. You are their uncle.
But, when you hear about the stuff that goes on in the public education system, okay?
Concentration camp /
you understand why we call them an institution and why kids
crazies run the asylum.
Then when they get out, they feel like they've been institutionalized. It's so bad now. Like from when we grew up, I mean, there were some issues in public school, but I wouldn't say it's nearly like what it is today. It's
Not even close.
It's very bad.
Oh,
and that's only in one generation. That's one generation of time that has passed and has turned it from literally been
technically it would be considered 2 generations.
The worst thing, literally, let's be honest. All right, for everybody here at this table, we're approximately close to enough same age that we can all attest to the school experience was pretty much the same between all three of us. Even though we went to different regional schools, we all went to different schools. I would say probably the worst thing that we had in our schools was occasional bomb threat.
I actually had a murder in my school.
I mean, I had a kid die in our school too, but it wasn't because
flat out murder, girl murder.
Where did you guys go? Nothing like that go on.
Well, so I had a kid die in school, but the reason the kid died was because of actual medical complication.
Goodness gracious.
I
was like, somebody's getting murdered. Another
freshman year of high school, we had a female track star was murdered in the boys' gym locker room.
That's terrible.
Freshman year. Yep.
I remember as a curriculum, every day we stood up for the flag.
Well,
and
we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff that has changed in just this one generation. But in the sense of like,
in the case of like 100 years, we've gone from schools that had God in them, may not have been God centered, but a little over 100 years, where God was involved in the teaching, to where now if you speak him, go to the principal's office.
Well, it's worse than that. And I guess the biggest problem now we're looking at is what the absence of God out of the school system has done. And
more fighting. People don't listen. Teachers now lay hands on students. That's a current situation that I'm going through. And no, I have no problem blasting that one all over.
If he didn't, I was going to.
We have teachers. I can attest for at least the school district up here. I remember when a certain Williamstown middle school and high school, for it seemed like a 5-year stretch, every year they were pulling a teacher out in handcuffs because he had child pornography on it.
I don't. This is recent.
This is
okay.
10 years ago. 10 years ago, there was a 5-year stretch in Williamstown where they were pulling.
That's still before we were in school.
That's after we were in school.
Yeah,
so it was
after,
it was quite a concern because at the time my youngest was getting to the point of almost getting to middle school, or my oldest was almost getting to the point of middle school, and it was a concern. It seemed like every year they were pulling out. Another teacher over the summer was getting arrested because they found XXX videos of underage children on their pooters in the school computers.
Well, first and foremost, I would say, as heinous as that is not even close to what I wanted to bring up, because though those things are sick and decrepit and mean and not good, the stuff that is going on, the reason why it's going on is what's more concerning to us. And so
when you take the foundation of God out of things, you're left with a foundation that is rotten, nasty.
Well, that's basically it. It's the absence of something makes something else happen. And when you don't understand what that means, think about this in just a logical sense, right? If you don't have a house, where do you live?
Cave.
Right?
Lean to.
Where do you live? You don't have a foundation. You don't have something to build your life around. You literally have nothing to build your life around. What does that affect? Well, you're like, okay, well, where do you sleep is just part one of the problem. But then where do you bathe? Where do you eat? Where do you wash your clothes? Where do you keep your stuff? Where do you put your money? It's a trickle effect. Everything starts to become more and more damaged as every other part of the life that you are supposed to be building in a home gets unraveled.
Yep.
So thinking in that same space, what we're talking about today is the absence of God in the education system, and why we're telling you today, anybody, I don't care if you even don't believe in God. This actually, if you have kids and you have kids in school, if you homeschool your kids, good on you. If you have the money to pay for private education and you can get them into a good private education, Christian private education, even better for you. Look, my sister, who is Jewish, went to a Christian private school because of how bad her public school was. It doesn't matter what your background and your faith is, but what you see is in a Christian-run school, the values, the Christian values, the God values.
In some of them, there's a lot of them that are going the other direction.
No, I said Christian. I didn't say the other C word. I didn't say that
the Christian ones are going just as bad. They're going just as woke.
Some, but I'm not. A lot of them. But I'm not talking about the wokeness. I'm talking about the values.
Anti-God.
I'm talking about the values. Hold on. I am talking about the values of discipline. I'm talking about the values of what you're building into a child's life, and the absolute lines you recognize you can't cross. Like you mentioned, like there's no situation ever in the history of the world that a teacher could physically assault a child.
Apparently now it's okay.
Okay, back when, like in the 1800s, when there was like corporal punishment in school, even then there was a guideline to what they were allowed and not allowed to do. And even then it was like a subtle, like, stop it,
well,
John.
No, they would get paddled. They would get hit with a ruler. There was implements used.
Yeah, but it was...
And they were like, kind of like today. You do something wrong, you get sent down to the principal's office. The principal's office then decides, what the punishment is going to be. Okay? It's kind of like the same thing. Even in a nunnery, Okay, for those of you who don't understand, I'm talking about a Catholic school.
Yeah.
Okay, even back in the day, the nun would have to pull you up in front. It wasn't like they just walked over to you and nailed you.
Yeah.
They would pull you up in front of the class, and they would implement the punishment in front of the class.
And look, that's not actually unbiblical. I mean,
No.
it's not.
But when you haul off and smack and cuff a kid in the back of the head so hard that they got to go to the nurse's office, like they did my son last week.
So,
Papa not happy.
So again, what has caused this issue? So starting with that, the absence of God. Now, when we were in school, you already said it, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did you do every morning at the beginning of class?
Stand
up,
Pledge
Pledge of Allegiance, right?
Yep.
Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Everybody stood up. Everybody sung the Pledge of didn't sing, but you verbalized the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Yep.
At the end of I'd say probably like my senior year in high school is when they started this garbage of you don't have to stand.
If you don't agree, if you don't feel led,
don't feel led to stand. Okay. Now, not only that, I mean, unpatriotic and not okay in my book, but it was the reason they said. And it was the writing on the wall. And that was, well, not everybody believes in God.
Yeah, because of
And
the one
because
line that says
of the
one
one
nation.
line that says one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, that one line became the trigger line that basically gave permission for kids to opt out of the Pledge of Allegiance. This was the beginning of the end. That led to...
I believe the beginning of the end was when they took the 10 Commandments off of the school walls.
That's going far back. But even then, there still was this system of values in a God-centric role in the school. The values, right? What are we talking about? Like respect, right? Being respectful to your teachers being respectful to the children, codes of conduct, things like that. It's not just made up junk.
Yeah.
It came from biblical principles. It came from God-centric values. And so they didn't just make it up. It was there. It predated the education system.
Yep.
The education system took from the Christian value system because it helped them to actually raise and teach and train better students.
The church started the public school system.
This is correct.
In New England.
Okay. So when you understand the foundations and the roots, and you understand where it all came from, and you understand why those things were implemented and put into place to begin with, why is it being removed? This is step one.
Well, it's
now,
easy.
We've talked about this.
You
before.
take God out and you fill something else in it.
Well, no, it's not even fill something else into it. But though they have.
No,
right?
they have a lot of evil things in it.
Well, I mean, no, you can't say that. You I'm sorry, you said evil. I'm sorry. What you meant to say was Democrat things. I know what you said. I understand. You misspoke.
It's the one half dozen the other.
Look,
here. One is the same. They're equal.
But think about it. Even if you pull the Democrat label off of it, right? And even if you want to go, oh well,
no, because there's conservatives that believe the same garbage too.
Okay, here's my point, right? What if it was Republicans, right? Okay, I'm gonna go this really dumb radical route for a reason.
Here we go.
So what if the Republicans were getting involved in the education system in a really radical way, right? And they're like, well, we really believe that guns need to be more in schools, and we need every kid to come into class and their locker's got a 9mm in it, and they need to put it on their hip just in case somebody tries to do something stupid in the school.
You mean back in 1960, whatever, when kids actually used to bring their own shotguns in order to go to shooting class?
Wait. That's not what I said. And listen to what I'm saying. I'm talking about this specifically. And listen to what I said. If the Republican Party declared that government-funded education system requires that your kid carries a 9mm Glock on his hip every day at school in case something funky goes down in class.
Bet
right?
you wouldn't have school shootings.
Hold on. No, you will have school shootings. You're going to have thousands of school shootings. Do you know why? Because little Johnny's going to go, he cheated. And then everybody else is going to go, oh, he shot me. And it's going to turn into Fortnite in the classroom in 3 seconds. 2 seconds. 2. Because they're not trained to use the gun properly, and they don't know the ramifications of when they do something wrong. Now, that's stupid, right? Do you agree that's dumb?
I mean, the gene pool just got cleaned out.
No, do you agree? I'm not asking an idiot over here. Do you agree that that's a really dumb thing?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, it's a bad idea.
I'm a gun carrying
Me
person.
too.
I think that you're not a carrier. You don't
know yet.
Yeah. If you do, I'm going to report you.
Wow,
Listen.
talk about.
That's right. I rat non-legal gun owners out. That's why I am.
Wait
no.
a second. Technically, he has the right to have it. The government
Yes.
doesn't have the right to regulate it.
Oh, that's true too. But we're not going to get into that. But anyway,
Such a thing called as constitutional
but
right.
think
to
about
carry.
how stupid that idea is. Okay. From a fundamental point. Like if you're talking about 17, 18-year-olds or whatever in shotgun class or whatever, I don't care. That's not what I'm
They
talking
had a
about.
shooting class. It wasn't just shotguns. They did.
I'm talking
everything,
about
not
like
just
your 6th grader or your 5th grader.
Personally, as a parent, you should be taking your 5th or 6th grader to the
That's
range anyway.
different. I'm not talking about that. Listen, I said specifically the government is mandating that the school
Well, anything the
require
government
this.
mandates is stupid.
Look,
I agree with you on
hold
that
on.
one.
But that's not my point. Even that's not my point. My bigger point here is, as stupid as that illustration was, I use the Republicans for a point because I don't want you to think I'm just picking on Democrats, right?
I know we
But-
pick on the ones with the
but-
R's next to their name too.
But given this circumstance in this illustration, nobody would want that to happen. Why? Because of how much harm it's going to physically do to the children in those classrooms. You know it. You can see it. It's writing on the wall. Okay. Substitute. We're going to teach your kids sexual deviations and sexual stuff that they don't need to know, even from their families.
At
Let
like
alone-
3rd grade.
Let alone at the age at which they're teaching them to your
Third
children from
grade.
a perfect stranger teacher that you don't know anything about. To we're going to teach them about woke agenda, gender bender, biology, lying, non-scientifically proven
Non-historical
whatever
CRT.
stuff. We're going to teach you that stuff too, to confuse your children, to make them think they are something that they have no bias or any science data whatsoever to prove. But we're going to do that. We're also going to teach them how they're racist if they're white. We're going to teach
And
them
even if
how
you're
they're
woke,
they're-
even if you're white and you're woke, you're still racist.
You're still racist.
because you get the advantage of
okay. We're going to teach
of
them
the
a
oppression
falsified
done to blacks.
history.
Yep, CRT
Okay. We're going to do all of this. Why?
or the 1619 project. sorry.
Why? The same outcome. It's the exact same outcome if you'd have just given them Glocks and told them to walk around the school for no apparent reason. And then when something goes wrong, guess what happens?
They are rewriting
Their
history
life- their
to
life
control the kid. Here's
No.
the thing: if they can keep everybody fighting, because even the kids at this point, it's happening. Watch the writing on the wall. Even the kids are getting sick and tired of this woke BS.
Some are.
Okay, even the kids are, because it's absolute BS. You got teachers coming in and treating kids differently. Yes, I will say that the woman who smacked my son upside the back of the head does have way more melanin than my son and I have, and has been going after other students. But that's what they're doing. If they can keep everybody divided, if they can forcefully oppress one group of people and berate them and do everything, then they can control. Because the minute they keep you away from working together, it's easily to be controlled. It goes back to the same thing: a house divided cannot stand.
Right.
If they can divide this nation even so far down as the kids, who I remember when I was a kid, everybody was a friend. Anybody could be a friend.
Yeah.
It didn't. Skin color didn't matter.
Nope.
What country you came from didn't matter. What church you
To
go
be,
to.
orientation
but to be
wasn't
clear,
that-
but even then, were there still some kids who were racist? Sure,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Sure.
But they were a very small percentage.
And they were all
And
talking
they got-
about how bad
Oh, yeah.
that kind of
And
person
they were-
was.
And they all got beat down by
Yeah.
everybody.
They would get mocked, they'd get ridiculed because of it, and it was a bad choice for them to even try and showcase that as some
Yep.
sort of like, oh, this is an okay way to
Yeah.
live.
We also respected our teachers back then too. You'd have a couple of class clowns every once in a while, try and.
But even
do
then,
something
there's
funny.
still
But
there was
nobody
mocking,
disrespected
there wasn't-
the
yeah.
teachers,
Yeah.
and teachers didn't disrespect the students
Nope.
either.
Nope.
I mean, I had lots of fun in a lot of my classes, and I was a terrible student. I was not good in school. I liked going, but I wasn't a good student. But
Yeah.
the teachers would still try and work with you. I can't tell you how many times teachers came up to me and was like, "Listen, I know you're not doing so well. Here's how I
Same
can
thing.
help you."
Same.
See,
And nowadays it's like non-existent.
Oh,
Like,
now
completely
it's
non-existent.
now it's if you're struggling. Number one, a lot of the classes are taught through computer programs now.
Yep.
Um,
why? Don't let that one fly. You can't sell You cannot sail something out and not.
Why
tell
are
me
they doing it?
Yeah, why?
Because they can constantly control it.
Not control it.
Manipulate.
That is
manipulate,
correct.
Yeah.
Because
They
what-
can
the
change
old way
the
of doing things was
information on spot
on a dime.
and make it say what they want it to
Because
say.
back in the day when we had textbooks in school, those textbooks when they bought them were like the schools were meant to keep them for at least 10 years before they bought new ones.
Yeah.
Like I remember being at, what was it, 4th grade, getting a history book, social studies book,
You guys are
and
not
they
going
show
deep enough
they
on
show
this
the
one.
map. They show the map of the world, and it still said USSR for where Russia was. And the teacher had to keep telling us, this is an older textbook. The USSR is no longer a thing. Now it's separated to this. And she would show us on the she had a pull down map that she just recently
Look, I just
bought.
played Street Fighter. USSR was still a thing, okay? Don't tell me the USSR was not a thing. Zangief was from USSR,
Yeah, right?
okay? And it was no Russia. It was USSR. The history teacher telling you it was writing a lie.
Back in the USSR.
We just dated ourselves.
Yes,
Every
we
single
did.
bit
Yes,
of
we
it
did.
just dated
Yes, we did.
ourselves.
Kyle
But
was still the best.
but here, you guys are missing a bigger point.
What's that?
With the everything, let's say digital. I'm not going to say internet based or whatever,
No, it's
computer based,
digital.
but let's just say everything digital. This is the actual reason. What it does is it can invalidate the teachers. And you go, well, why would they want to invalidate a teacher? See, that's where this goes. This
because they want
system-
to validate the government. Not
This
the teacher.
system is so corrupt that nobody should want to be a teacher in the actual public education sector anymore. If you are a teacher and you have any sort of values for God, country at all,
Get out.
quit your job. Quit your job.
There's plenty of schools you could go, or become a professional tutor and just take on the kids
Yes,
in your neighborhood.
or join homeschool groups and start doing things in a more. I hate to say this, but we're going back to the old village days, okay? Where
we do need
it
to go
took
to
a
the old
village.
schoolhouse days.
It took the village to raise them. Guess what? That's what it meant. They were all working together.
The village
with
paid for the teacher to teach all the kids in the area.
their education. So why am I saying this, and why is that so valid? And I hate to pull an Alex Jones, but this is as Alex Jonesy as
they
it
turn the
gets.
frogs gay.
They're turning the frogs gay. No, all right, but listen. But seriously, I'm going to do my best, Alex Jones here, but for a reason, because this sounds very Alex Jonesy. But if you do just a little bit of research, you'll find out it's not that far fetched. See, what they're doing is they're getting rid of the teachers and they're putting in and injecting their own symbiote teacher model so that they can actually brainwash every child through the brainwashing of the teacher. So the teacher is just a conduit of the brainwash message. And see, what the computer-based system does is it registers whether or not the teacher is on track or not. And if the teacher's off track or goes off track, that teacher actually gets demerits. The student doesn't get the demerits, the teacher gets the demerits. And then when the teacher gets too many demerits, the teacher's just gone. And then there's a new teacher. And where did the other teacher go? Well, the students don't know. I don't know. They were there yesterday. They're gone today. When I was in school, teachers were there for the whole year. I've seen teachers that were there when I went back for my kids, and they were there, and they're still there, and they're still teaching. That's how it used to be. Not anymore.
Not entirely.
Good Alex
wrong.
Jones impersonation?
That's pretty good.
All right, thank you.
The current
Okay,
situation.
that's it for me. I'm done
the
with my
current
Alex Jones.
situation that I'm going through with my son all started because in the beginning
The
of the school year,
teacher left.
the teacher was told, the Spanish teacher of my son's middle school.
This is
was
my
told-
evidence, by the way.
Was told that they're going to do a new computerized program to teach Spanish. Now, this Spanish teacher, I don't remember his name. I only met him once on back to school night. He was the best in the state. Had the
Was
best.
he a green owl?
I don't know. Anyway, he had the best test scores in the state. Kids really learned from him. He's been teaching forever the same way, and it worked.
And there's the problem.
Most of the time with the kids. They came in, told him they were going to do a computer program. He said, no, I don't teach that way. I'm teaching my way. My way works. It's proven. I'm not teaching with a computer. And I said, well, you either teach with the computer or you're fired. And he said, screw you. I quit. And left.
Good job.
He had the cojones to shove it right up their derriere.
And the thing is the replacement
Is a long-term substitute who shouldn't even have a teaching degree. But let's not get there.
But
that
what is a
woman should be
teaching
wearing
degree?
shackles.
What is a teaching degree? A teaching degree comes from basically now another government syndicate that basically says that you're part of the machine.
And I love
Teaching degrees
are nothing anymore.
Are not anything anymore. They used to be something because the degree was an actual improvement. It was an improvement of your actual backing of education.
It's not
now you just need a degree and you can go teach whatever.
Yeah, see,
and you can do that online.
Well, see here,
you don't even have to go to like.
Here, I already told.
No, you should.
Well, no,
you should. And there is a certain.
Well,
there are in certain states there are requirements. So state requires different. State does different requirements. So this is different state to state. You do have to look at that as well. So again, now you have to get down to
life experience to count towards teaching.
Now you have to get to something that is very pivotal and important. Is what would be the big difference between state to state? Well, I'll give you 2 colors of paint, and you can paint with those colors, and you'll find out when you paint with one color, the education system gets really crappy. But when you paint with the other color, it doesn't seem so bad.
Red and blue? Are those your colors? Red and blue?
Red and green blue? And purple.
No, purple's when you mix the red and blue. Where are you getting the green from? Where's the yellow? Who's
the Green
yellow?
Party. So I'm joking. But
no, you're absolutely correct. I mean, it is so bad with the way that they're doing this stuff. I mean, and this is part of the argument that I had with them. This is my belief. Anybody in this country at any given point, when it comes to primary education, so we're talking K through 12, when it goes K through 12, anybody could teach those classes. You get the curriculum. You then go online, learn everything you need to know to do that curriculum. Anybody could do it. You can be trained to do it. Primary education. Secondary education, well, number one, they need to get rid of half of the crap they teach in secondary education. And by that, secondary education is technically partially high school as well. But they need, especially when it comes to college, higher education, they need to get rid of most of the stuff they teach because college is crap now, and it wouldn't be so expensive if they didn't have all the stupid degrees that can't get you a job anyway. But anybody here, I can tell you this for a fact, and I know these guys personally. Anyone at this table talking could easily teach a class in high school.
I taught post-secondary school, so I don't need to prove myself.
Any one of us could do it. I could and just pick a subject that we enjoy. Like I enjoy science and math. I could easily go in online, find everything I need to know to teach a year of whatever science, whatever math, and do it. Could easily do it.
But you bring up a good point too.
Don't need the degree.
But
the degree is how they get brainwashed. They brainwash these teachers to bring them in to further brainwash the kids.
What you're finding out and what you just said points to even something that's pivotally more problematic with the society today, which is how much of this stuff can actually just be learned through a YouTube video.
Right.
How much do you really need an actual education for? And I think that's where
should be all of it.
Well, hold on.
Well, no,
I am willing to actually acquiesce to a simpler point. The problem I have with this is the education system is educating kids in something far, far, far inferior and less.
Oh, I can attest to that.
Than what they could get online if they went and did it themselves. That to me tells me all I need to know is that you could literally, this is why I say, homeschoolers, you guys are doing great. Why? Because everything is available online. You really have to do much. You don't have to do much of anything. There's stuff for every category of ever needed important information is available on the internet. And I'm not talking about, Wikipedia. That's trash. That's not real research. But I'm talking about, like, if you want to go ahead and do, let's say, some trigonometry, you can pull up a YouTube video of a college level professor teaching you trig, and he can teach you not only how to do trig, but he can teach you how to do trig. He can teach you how to do trig with application. And guess what else he'll do? He has a video right after telling you how to break all the stuff he did and do the shortcut versions of it so you can actually use it in real life more effectively.
Yep.
Which is what you need to do in order to be good at your job when you go to get a career position. But see, teachers used to do that.
Mm-hmm. They teach you the long version first and then teach you the short.
Not even the long and the short, but they used to teach it to you that way because they valued your involvement in society. This is the next point. What is the kids' purpose in society coming into the future? What are the kids of this generation supposed to be building into that is supposed to make
just to be worker drones?
Look, not for nothing. I hope if your son's watching, because I know he watches a lot. If he is watching, please don't take this offensive. I'm not mean to offend, but if you are a child of 13 and older, I am deathly afraid of your generation's time to be president of this country.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of what that means for this. If we even have presidents by the time that comes, because the way you guys will vote,
We'll have Caesars.
we won't even have presidents by that point. You guys will have elected like 20 dictators, and we'll be overrun by China by then. So regardless of that fact, that is the next major point here, is the education system is currently training this generation to be involved in society in a very different way.
Well, yeah, I mean, the fact
this information will terrify you as parents.
This is where like how we had to start this whole podcast out, this whole road out when it was just me and Pastor Gary here. We had to start out by outlining the differences between the federal constitution and the state constitution. Why? Because even people older than us didn't know that New Jersey had its own constitution.
And
I did not.
And not only that, though, but not only that there is a difference between those two constitutions, which generally you would think there shouldn't be a difference between those constitutions, because again, the state is supposed to be a reflection of the federal constitution.
And this is the problem. And I can even attest to this with having to deal with my kids. My oldest is 19. My youngest is 10. Okay.
You got it right. Good job.
All the way in between. I've had to deal. My oldest being 19. Okay. From the time period that I was in high school to the time period she was in high school, I had to actually middle school, actually. I had to go into the middle school and flip out at math teachers because they yelled at her because I trained her how to do math right, not that core crap that doesn't work at all. I taught her the right way to do it, and I told her to write the order of operations on the top of her test just to remind her. She's allowed to do it. It's not considered cheating. It doesn't give you answers. It just reminds you the order you solve your problems. She got a 0 on a test because the teacher was like, that's cheating. And I went into school hot. I was like, how's this cheating? How's this a failure? Well, because she wrote that on the top, that's cheating. I'm like, do you know what that is? No. Wait. You don't know what PEMDAS is?
Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally.
Yes. You don't know what PEMDAS is? No, I've never used that before. Then why are you teaching math? Because math is all about order of operations. Math and science are real simple. They tell you the rules that you've got to stay within in math. Then you solve every problem with those rules. Real simple. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, each style of thing has different rules, but they've all got rules. 2 + 2 always equals 4.
7. 7.
Well, that's why they're. Well, no, now
my answer is 7.
No. 2 + 2 now equals queer. Get it right now, okay?
No, that's.
But what you were talking about is so true, because if you think about it, the way even they're just doing the math differently now is not helping.
They got rid of core math. They went back to the old stuff.
Oh, okay.
Do you know why?
Because it wasn't going to help the kids in the
future. That's not why. Do you really know why they gave up on core math?
No.
I'm going to give it to you. It's the dumbest reason. But the answer at the end was always right.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was. No, because, all right, so first of all, to be clear, what we call core math is actually generally the way China does math. It is exactly the same way.
No, it's not the same way. Because core math was invented by
trust me.
Was invented by Microsoft.
Anyway,
it doesn't. It was invented to be so that they could take, because they were having a shortage of math teachers.
What I'm saying is the way they did the certain problems, math problems, the grid solving of problems is an actual way Chinese children are taught how to do it. Now in Japan they do it a little bit differently as well. In India they do it a little bit differently. In America we do it differently.
After core math, you got kids doing this all the time.
All right, hold on. But here's the reason. You ready? You know why? It took too long.
Yeah.
So guess what? When they would give assignments in class, they didn't have enough time in class to do them all because they couldn't, because it took too long.
Because you had to draw it out.
If you want proof, you could literally watch videos on YouTube of 3 children solving the same problem, and one kid takes longer than the other 2. The other 2 are done in the same amount of time. And they did the math the same, and that's the Japanese student and the Chinese student. Or the Japanese student and the American student. Everybody else will take longer because that grid drawing problem takes too long, especially the higher up you go.
And especially,
yes, it's easier to do 1,563 times 461 and get the answer with those methods. Sure, it is,
but it's slower.
Also,
you end up with a bunch, because another thing that
you don't know how you got the answer.
Correct. Is they now you get a bunch of kids now. my oldest still does this. She counts with her fingers.
Yep.
Because she can't. All of us, you memorized it. Why? You memorized 2 + 2 always equals 4. You memorized the easy things over and over again so that when you got to the harder stuff, you could just take it piece by piece and solve it all from your head. That's why my kids get astonished that I can do large polynomials in my head without even pulling anything out.
Right.
And they're like, how do you do this? I was like, because this is the way we were taught.
Yep.
We were taught to never use the calculator.
And
we were taught using the calculator meant you were
Cheating.
stupid.
Hold on.
You were stupid.
Hold on. And here's me, okay, going to say this one little factoid too is, and I'm not a fan of the U.S. system. I prefer the metric.
Oh, get out of here.
Now, hold on.
Communist over here.
It's
When
not
did we let
communist. It's about base 10. And here's the issue.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, I
Base
could
10 was way
tell you
easier.
right now, and this turned a real side corner, but I can tell you if you break down any math problem and do it by tens first, you'll have a heck of a lot of time faster doing it because it's quicker.
Then you got your decimal points.
It doesn't matter about the
And-
decimal points. I don't care about that. That's
No.
not the problem.
Other way, fractions are
It's-
better. Fractions
Yes,
are better.
do fractions, exactly. But
Fractions are better than the metric
fractions are
system.
just division. It's just division. That's all fraction is. It's just the division sign. You just decided I'm not going to do this division. I'm just going to leave it as / this.
No, fractions are better than
Still
decimal
divided
points
by-
any day. I would rather do some
But a
fractions
point
any day.
again. So I love that conversation. What's a quarter? 1 divided by 4. Oh, I don't get it. Okay, how many times does 1 go into 4? 4 times. Okay, so if you have $1 and you take 4, you divide it in 4 times. How many do you have? Quarter. 0.25. Done. There's your decimal point. There's your it's a
Hate
divide
decimal
sign.
points. I hate
It's a
decimal
divide
points.
sign. So anyway, but going back to what we were saying, what are your kids being trained to be? Okay.
They're trained to be drones.
Not
worker
drones. They're
Yes.
not. They're not. They are not being trained to be drones. Because if all right, theoretically speaking, if you were training a society to basically become dumb drones and just repeat the mantra, whatever they were saying, why would you make the mantras that you're making them? Think about what they're repeating.
It's all about control.
But think about what they're teaching their kids.
I know what they're teaching the kids.
I know you do.
It's to
You're my
destroy-
number one informant.
It's to destroy the nuclear family, and
Okay.
it's to destroy society so that nobody works
Right.
together and everybody trusts the government for getting everything
Okay.
that they need. It's worker drones. You do this, and the government will give you that. Or in a lot of cases, just stay home.
Sort of. That part of it, yes, you're right. That's only a microcosm part
That's
of
a
it, though.
huge part of it because
No, it's not.
once they're paying your bills for you, they own you.
Look, you're going back to the whole "you'll own nothing and you'll be happy."
It's
mantra.
still what they're going for.
I'm not talking about what the governments of all the world government.
No,
people
that's
like
even
to
with
sit
the
there and
United
talk
States
about.
government with total socialism.
Look, I also understand that too, and I'm not minimizing the socialist agendas. I'm not minimizing that. I'm talking about specifically in the education system. You're over politicizing it. What I'm saying is that there is a bigger issue at hand, and that's what is being ignored. When they take God out of the school, okay, and they, like you said, you're saying they basically inserted government.
Well, they inserted other gods, and I wouldn't say that it was necessarily government, but they inserted other things like sexuality and other things to be their gods.
I look at it this way: they just removed God. They didn't really put something else back. What happened is because now God's not there, there's no governing
Well,
in the
now
education
the vacuum
system
sucks in
anymore.
every evil thing. that
Well,
can be
it's
done.
just now everything is allowed. It's almost like go back to the old school Bible days of Sodom and Gomorrah, right? You kick God out of the town,
Mhm.
you've allowed every other wicked thing to come in. And so what prevails is just wickedness afterwards. So
evil.
in the sense of you're not, and I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong about the political agendas that are there.
Oh,
But
there's
I'm-
massive political.
But I'm
agendas in
really
there. Have
pointing
been
out
there since the 40s.
but I'm pointing out something that's a little bit more sinister than just a political
Well,
bias.
yeah, because even still, the political crap that they're bringing into it to actually ruin this country is all based off of spiritual things anyway. The enemy Satan, whatever you want, Beelzebub, whatever you want to call him, has never been happy that this country was like, you know what, we're going to start this country on the foundation of God. He was never ever happy with that. Okay, we came over here. We set a foundation for God with the Mayflower Compact. The Pilgrims set it up. Everything that they started later led to our government and the way it was founded on God. And ever since this country has been formed and the Constitution ratified from that day forward, it has been attack after attack to destroy from the inside. Why? Because as long as this country stands as a bastion for God, there is hope. The minute you destroy that bastion of God, now this world becomes a total darkness. And of course, what's the first thing they did to help weaken this country? Oh, you churches, you're not allowed to talk. It's separation of church and state. Go do your thing and leave us alone. And that's where it all really started.
Yeah, and I'll do a little tangent here that goes with that with my son, him being homeschooled. Now, I tried to, when he was in kindergarten and preschool, to try and go to regular public school. He wasn't doing so well, so we took him out, and she wanted to homeschool him anyway. So he's been homeschooled since he was, 7 years old, basically. And because of that,
PC's not plugged in.
that's fine. I'll get it. Go ahead. Continue. I'll continue my story in just a second.
Yeah.
Temporary issues.
To temporary fixing of the pooter.
I was going to say, continue your story about your son without you. It's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, right. Oh, they're restoring the connection.
Waiting to come back, waiting to come back, waiting to.
No, it's still technically.
Back.
No camera.
No.
Do you hear us? We're working through the technical difficulties. USB connected.
Give it a second.
No. All right. Have it search.
Yeah.
Go down to the bottom. We're working through.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, the question is there actual audio? Because that would be the first thing to check.
Go to
audio.
Go down. No, not add source. See where the camera button is on the bottom of it? Right? No, bottom. Over
You can't see what you're pointing at.
To your left.
Next to the microphone.
Next to the microphone button over here. There you go. No, that's disabled. You might need to reload. Hit the refresh.
There you go.
Oh wait.
Okay.
Can you hear us now?
We're going to check right now. We're doing a live check.
Yeah.
Seeing if you can actually see us and hear us. I just want to make sure.
Technical
everything
difficulties.
Can she hear us?
Did you hear us? I'm waiting for a response. Okay, it's all good.
All right, there we go.
Sorry.
Technical difficulties we have learned. They need
Plug
to plug
the computer in.
Computer needs to be plugged
that
in.
Wizard of Oz behind the screen. Fail.
Yeah.
That's kidding. We love you.
Epic fail.
Thank God he's not being paid.
So anyway,
Your
So
son.
let's talk about your
son.
son.
Yeah, so looking at what he's been through, and he's now, oh God, he's so old. 15 years old. Seeing that he's that old and seeing what he's like in comparison to kids nowadays at his age are completely different. I'll give you a quick example. He has God in his life. He has God in his family. And it's talked about very much, as well as in his curriculum or whatever. So knowing that, watching something that's a little like we'll watch an anime. all of a sudden a little risque part may come up, like people kissing or something like that, he'll get uncomfortable. At his age, he'll feel uncomfortable and tell me that he's feeling uncomfortable with just something as much as somebody kissing somebody else. And every time that I slip up and cuss or something like that, he'll correct me instantly. I know, I curse. I imagine that.
Well, stop it.
I know. But even he recognizes that that's not good. So he has all these values in him because he has God in his life.
And that's the thing. What he attests to is something that we, and this is sad, and it's going to sound bad, but please don't make this as by no means is it a judgment. It's more of a praise. Sadly, kids that are homeschooled usually have this stigma about them that they're weird, awkward. They don't. They're unusual. They don't have.
It's supposed to be weird.
Hold on. But what you're actually seeing, is how screwed up we are.
Right.
That's really what you're seeing.
The ones that are homeschooled and kept out of the garbage are innocent.
Right. They're not picking up all the crap that you get in the public school.
They may be naive, but you know what?
Like, think about even the lingo and the language that the kids use nowadays. Like, it's some of it's old, some of it's redundant, some of it's repetitive, some of it's stuff that we had when we were AIDS. Yeah.
Like very, very small words.
Yeah, they're getting smaller and smaller. They're just going to use the alphabet soon. So
they do. The Alphabet Mafia.
Well, so this is going to make my final point with this, and this is where I was going originally and coming full circle now. The political agendas are there, and they're really obvious, and you can see them.
Well, really? Because it looks to me that a lot of people can't.
Well, no, I think they see them. I just think they're either being ignorant blatantly, or they just don't think they can do anything to change the problem.
Which you can.
You can, which we'll talk about at the end.
Which is, Christians need to stand the heck up.
Well, we're going to talk about it at the end. But here's the other aspect. And what they're actually doing. And this is not Alex Jones. This is me.
Uh-oh. He's gone off the deep end.
I'm worse than Alex Jones. Alex Jones gets his cues from me. I don't know the man personally, so please don't think that I do.
We're joking.
I'm being facetious. But what they're really doing, and this is going to sound as weirdly odd and creepy as it is, but it's the truth. They would not be trying to sexualize your children. They would not be trying to institutionalize all kinds of non-gender relations and all kinds of misappropriations as far as relationships are concerned to your kids at such a young age, unless they were trying to absolutely destroy something. Yep. The question you got to ask yourself is what? Because you would think, well, they're not destroying anything, especially if you're one of those liberals. You'd be like, oh no, this is good for them. They're being their best selves.
This is the natural progression of Darwinism.
This is not even humanism. This is them. It's the psycho stuff. This is them getting to be able to be themselves and be comfortable with themselves.
Because remember, our parents told us we could be anything we wanted.
Yeah, I'm still not an astronaut. No. So anyway.
You have the potential to be just about anything you want.
Yeah.
Don't mean it gonna happen.
All right. If you were born 4'5" at your max height, you're never gonna play basketball. I'm sorry. It's not happening.
Right?
It's just not gonna happen. You can't. But that's not my point. My point is that you have to ask yourself, what are they actually after? Because if they were doing that, and it was, like you said, it's this institution. They're trying to control and separate and divide us, right? And all this stuff. That's true. That is happening. But that's not end game.
No, it's not end game.
It's not.
It's total removal of God and full depravity in the world.
But what's the point of the depravity? Because what you're seeing is they did the remove God. They've injected the junk that's making the depravity, and you're getting the depravity. What's the reason for it? And I will tell you why.
I'll tell you the full-on spiritual reason, but
go ahead, give it to me.
It's to
so I can tell you you're wrong.
It's to destroy God's creation so much that
there it is. They want to kill. They want to kill your kids.
They want to kill your kids.
They want to kill your kids, and this is the facts.
Here's the thing: they're
trying to kill them in the womb.
And they can't do that anymore.
But because not even.
Well,
but see, hold on.
Because I got slowed down.
Hold on, because they want to kill your kids, and if you don't think that this is real, you need to read your Bible more. Okay.
Yep.
If you need some proof and evidence, I can direct you. There's a
what
certain
was
book of the Bible where these certain individuals ruled God's
can't
people
remember.
for a period of time, and some of them did a decent
Not
job.
Balaam, Moloch. There we go.
Okay. Some of them did a
Author of
decent job.
Moloch.
Some of them did not do a decent job. One of them did a great job, Deborah. She's the only one that was good. The rest of them,
No.
it's,
She was the only one that didn't have a bad ending to
she's the
her
only one that
job.
did. Yeah, but she did a decent job while she was. Okay, but
All the other judges,
not so great. Okay,
they were flawed people.
but one of the judges, most specifically, and don't quote me on name right now. I'm not going to quote Bible scripture here tonight. But what I do want you to do is your own research and go.
Yep.
It's in Judges, and you will find that there was a point in time where they were being told to go and sacrifice their children.
Mm-hmm. On the altar of Moloch.
This is exactly what they are doing with your children now.
Yep.
Okay, and if you think I'm wrong, the amount of depression that children are in today is unequivocal on measures and numbers you couldn't measure with
Yep.
a scale. It is
And
so
it's all environmental.
astronomically
It's all
bad.
environmental.
It's insane. What used to be called anxiety is full on depression in children now.
Right.
And
Anxiety.
and-
What used to be called just getting a little nervous is now a full-on
Right,
anxiety attack.
Right. You're seeing more anxiety attacks in children, which, by the way, would never happen to a kid when we were in school.
No,
Never.
You know what you get-
Kids would literally be threatened by other kids that they were going to kill them after school and then go kill their parents. And we would go, you don't even know what bus I'm on. And we get on the bus and go, and they watch us get on the bus. And we were like, wait, he just saw me get on the bus. He knows what bus I'm on. He can find out what bus route I'm on. We didn't think about it because we knew, guess what? You know what? There was actual things instilled in the school that protected the kids, that protected their livelihood,
Yep.
protected their parents, and protected their homes. Now, all those are gone. So you've removed it. So now, actually, kids can make that threat, and you maybe be concerned that might happen. Or the teachers will make that threat, and you might be concerned it might happen. But they're not going to do it through the means of physical harm,
Nope.
although they may, by accident or intentionally, do some physical harm to
Or
your
in
kid.
my case,
Right. But what are they going to do? They're going to teach them LGBTQAIPP plus S2A apostrophe hashtag.
don't forget Two-Spirit. Don't forget Two-Spirit.
2S, whatever. Okay. All of those things. Why? Do they care what gender and what your sexual preference is? No, they don't care. But what they want you to be is confused and unsure of who you are and unknowing.
also-
And then to find yourself into relationships that don't make you happy while you watch other people you see become happy and breeding you such depression that leads to one end: suicide.
Yep. They
Then-
want to kill.
Hold on. What else are they doing? They're teaching you how to fix your problems. Oh, your problems? You don't need to go to God to fix your problems. You need shaky, shaky, shaky pills. Shaky, shaky, shaky pills. They'll make your problems go away. And by the way, if you think I'm lying, get this one. There are schools that literally can override your parents for medical practices that will prescribe your children antidepressants, which, guess what? 99% of antidepressants have a side effect of.
Suicide.
Suicide is
Written on the package.
Yep.
Suicide.
They have been trying.
Manic
See, here's the
depression.
thing. For decades, they were happy killing your children in the womb.
Now they're going to kill them. While they're above ground.
Now because some individuals have done some things to slow them down. With the Supreme Court ruling the way they did last June, slowed them down.
Yep.
Slowed them down.
Thank God.
So, amen. Say what you will about Trump, but if it wasn't for him putting in the court-appointed people, the people in the courts that he did, we wouldn't have had this happen. So, look, I'm not praising that man. I'm praising God that guided him.
Yep.
All right. That's number one. But now, because they can't abort your children as quickly as they can, now they're trying to castrate them by the time that they are 6 or 7 by convincing them that your son is really a girl.
Your girl's not a.
And your girl's really a boy. So they're
You don't need
castrating
your
them.
ovaries.
They're castrating them chemically by giving them these puberty blockers.
Yep.
Then they're castrating them physically by actually taking a knife and cutting these things off. Well, what does
Mutating
that
them.
do?
That's not castrating. That's mutating.
Well, castration,
into
cutting
invertebrates.
cutting
Yeah.
the dingling off and
they don't
everything
cut
else.
it off.
Huh?
They don't cut it
Oh
off.
no, I'm sorry. They cut it and then they put it inside. Turn it into an inverted.
Again, if you really want to really
Gross
fall
yourself
into
out,
engrossing sin, should just look
Anyway,
that junk up.
they're
That's
doing all
nasty.
that. Why? Because now not only are they killing your kids,
Butchery.
but they're butchering and killing the next generation, because if nobody can have kids because they've butchered their sex organs and now they can't carry children, let alone conceive them, now they control everything. Now only the rich ones. You ever notice the rich politics, the rich everybody else, they're not the ones having these issues. Even the ones that say that they're a different sexuality, they never go through the surgeries. They never take the medicine. They just dress like it so that they look a certain way. Why? Because when the elites are the only ones having and making and having kids, then they control it all, and you're just cattle.
I was going to say that part, but he took it from me.
Yeah, I mean, even like the pills do the same thing too.
Yep.
Yeah.
They hurt your
They're
reproductive system.
and
kill you from the
despite
inside.
what doctors are trying
They
to
shave
say,
years off your life.
They cannot be reversed. Number one, if you take a male and you pump him full of estrogen, he is going to be riddled with cancer. It is a proven fact, which is why when men have testosterone levels going down and their estrogen levels raise as they get over, what is the normal prescription? Pump you full of testosterone to beat off the other stuff.
Yep.
If you take a woman and you give her testosterone that she is not supposed to have, you are going to damage her heart irrevocably. It irreversibly.
Because they're not meant for that.
Correct.
Okay, you are doing things to the human body that it was never designed to be done to, and yet, not using any real science to prove it, they just go, "Oh, it's safe." Why? Because I said so. That didn't work when my parents said that. It's not working now, Spanky.
Well, so what you're now seeing, and this is probably the reason that we've alluded to. I don't think just this episode, but in many episodes we've done the reason why they want to kill your kids. It's not because there's some weird sacrifice or altar sacrifice that they're
Well, there
making.
is, but that's
Look, if there's some pagan rituals that they're doing with your children, I mean, look, if you let your kids have
It's still-
get into that room with those people, then that, I mean, I look at the parents and I go, shame on you. But
shame on them. You get
But-
smacked.
here's the bigger picture. You kind of nailed it. The elites, the lower class or middle class, and the separation between the two.
Hence why
Yes,
they're trying
because-
to get rid of the middle class, and so there is
Well-
no middle class. It's only a lower class.
The elites can afford the private schools. The elites can control the private schools.
Walls are bad, but they have
Well,
fences that are
they-
15
they-
feet high.
Hold on. They've invested into the private education sector because their kids go there.
That's why they don't want school choice in your schools.
But they don't
in your states.
they don't invest into the public sector. That's the state's job. So what you're finding and you're seeing is that there is this elitist mindset that's coming in, and they're the elites over top controlling the lower class. But why are they wanting to kill your kids? That's the question you really should be asking yourself. See, the reality is they're not just killing your kids. They're killing the kids.
Yep.
The kids are the ones that can beat them. The kids that fall in love with God, the kids that know what God says, the kids that have been trained by families who love God and care and bring their kids up in the admonition of the Lord become very dangerous.
And
guess what? This is the scary part. Ready? Who do you think they're training these current kids to kill?
Christians to hate the single white
Anglo-Saxon Protestant? You mean the wasp?
no.
I don't like wasps either. If I see a hive of wasp, man, I'm just like, die!
No, the single white Christian
That joke
male.
is for
That
Ed.
is who they are trying to kill.
Just get a big old can of Raid.
And
White
don't get me
Anglo-Saxon
wrong.
Protestants all over the place.
Yes, I could sit here and say that it's all about white people, but it's not. If you find Christian men in any race, gender, whatever, race, creed, and any country, any state, Christian men of any kind are hated.
Mhm.
Okay? Christian women are hated. Women who stand against abortion. But freaking what's her face? Farrah Fawcett. Is that who?
She dead.
No, the other one. Jane Fonda. There we go. Jane Fonda last week said that if you are a Christian woman who believes that abortion, that if you are not even a Christian woman, but if you are a woman who believes that the clump of cells in the womb is a baby, you should go kill yourself. That is what she said. Verbatim. Okay? This is how evil.
I don't even know why people pay attention to what these people say anymore.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Well, I mean,
who made them special? Nobody.
Well, actually,
no.
People did.
No, we didn't.
We didn't.
No, we
but
didn't.
Other people made them special.
No.
By hitting them up on a pedestal.
No. That's invisible. Think about this. Well, real quick, side tangent. Any person who is popular, actually, even better illustration. The current people online, let's say streamers, young kids, love these guys, who are popular, are only popular because you're being told they're popular.
Yep.
What they do is not important. What they're popular for is not important. Heck, sometimes these guys have viewers, they don't even know where they're coming from because generally speaking, they don't exist. Ask Elon about Twitter bots.
Yep.
They don't exist. They're
TikTok
fake.
has them too.
So hear me out. When you think about that model and its current, you can see it all throughout. Any of the streamers, I'll tell you, they deal with that junk on a regular basis. They want to know what their actual numbers are. I mean, Crowder was like that when he was with the Blaze. He wanted to know who's my actual subscriber base, not the fake subscribers, because there's people that are not real. They're just being flooded in as though this is a real contributor, but they're not a person. There's no actual account to them. There's no physical body to it, right? So there's so many things that can be faked nowadays that are so astronomically high that there's no validation as to whether or not it's real or not. Do you think that's new?
Nope.
That's not new. That existed back when TVs were black and white, folks. It was fake all the time. The only reason why David Letterman was the best talk show host is because they told you he was.
Well, there was only two of them. It was either,
either
Leno or Letterman.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Could somebody have done the job better?
Sat there and looked at David Letterman and gone, he's not funny. And you could have polled half of the United States of America and they would have agreed with you. Yet somehow he's the best? No, he's not. It's because they're telling you he's the best. And if anybody's a Letterman fan, I'm not saying that he is or is. But what I'm saying is you were just told that is a fact with no data.
Oh, well, they do the same thing with music. They tell
no
you
data.
This is the new best song. This is the new number one hit. But then you ever notice that when there comes a real number one hit from somebody who's outside that club that picks who the number one hits are, they always try to fight it really hard. I'm
going to prove my point.
Which is why we say it with Tom MacDonald. Tom MacDonald, same thing. He gets a number one hit and immediately a song will drop by like some other supposed big name pop star, and immediately 1 hour after being dropped down, the hours of time Tom MacDonald's song has been on there is erased because that person immediately becomes number one hit.
Right.
Because they just instantaneously try to stop
because they make it. But here's a point, and this is a really true and absolutely drives me nuts. The fact that anybody is writing anything about Colin Kaepernick today.
Oh, you don't like his novel?
The person is not important. He was never important. Sorry, Steve. Ever. You didn't even like him on your team. Admit it.
No, and he was replaced by
the man played one good season of football and they still did not win a championship. He is unimportant. Don't ask him what his opinions on anything are. Yep. He doesn't matter. But they tell you that his importance is he thinks his parents are racist because they said his cornrows look trashy. That's an actual written opinion by Colin Kaepernick in an article on Apple News. Why does that even make news?
Wait. What about his now new graphic novel?
I don't care. That's my point. The point is that they're telling you these people are important when they're not. They're not important. You don't care.
This is why you have to unplug people.
You got to get out. That's the point. right? Get off of the social media platforms. Get off of Facebook. Get off of Twitter. Get off of these stupid things. Why? Because
The only
they're filled
reason
with a
I'm
bunch
on
of
there-
fake people. No, look. If you are doing it, if you're like, oh well, I only connect with my family and relatives, and we share photos. I don't get my news
Well, it's like
from there.
me.
That's great.
I only do it because
That's
I'm trying
great.
to reach you guys
I
out
will
there
tell you
who
though.
are watching this.
There's one thing I stand firmly and plant on my feet. If you are an American citizen and have TikTok on your phone, delete it. Just delete.
I've pretty much moved
the
over to Clapper at
trash,
this point.
please. It is Chinese communist propaganda. It is taking data every minute off of your phone and giving it to China, and they're not hiding it.
Clapper,
Okay.
Clapper is the
That
better way
being
to
said,
go anyway.
I understand there's funny
Agreed.
things on TikTok. I understand there's.
What'd you say?
Huh?
Agree to disagree.
I look. I think there's funny things on TikTok too, but you know what? You don't have to watch it through TikTok. You
This
can
is
watch
true.
it through other apps.
It's fine.
You
Reddit.
can get it through some other place. Don't
What's
get
that
it
one?
through the
What's
app.
that one that we always
I
use?
go on.
Me and Jake?
What is iFunny?
iFunny.
Yeah, just go. I mean, that's Russian, but whatever. China, Russia, they're all the same. But literally, this is, and I don't use the app. I just go on the browser and look through that. No apps, no, bad. They're directly injected into your phone. Anyway, all this to say, what they're doing to your kids, why they're doing it, why they're interested in killing the kids now, or doing what they're doing to the kids to kill the kids, is to really kill all Christianity
Yep.
in this country.
Yep.
And they're doing it very much succinctly through the process of, we can build a hate group that will literally become the most hurtful, hateful, heinous group of human beings in the history of the world, to enact all sorts of absolute heinous
Atrocities.
crimes and atrocities against God's people.
And here's the fact. Here's something that y'all need to realize. And if you're a Christian and you're listening to this, you really need to listen to what I'm about to say here. If the Christian church actually stood up and stood on the values of what the Bible preaches, and actually truly understood how our government works and how it was designed to work, those two things combined, we could take back the reins and guide this country better.
Well, that's the thing.
And that's the honest to
Stop
God,
being
people.
afraid. Stop being afraid of injecting yourself in the system,
it's
because
not
you could
even-
actually make a difference.
Here's the thing. Everybody loves to pull up the scripture in the Bible where it talks about, oh, you got to do what the king tells you to do. You got to do what the government tells you to do. Okay. You're looking at it through the governments that were happening in the time that verse was written. Our government never existed. Nothing like it ever existed. Our government, and we were talking about this 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago. Our government is a government that is of the people, by the people, for the people. So who is the ultimate under God? Mind you, I'm not saying he is the ultimate authority. But who is the ultimate authority on this plane of existence when it comes to this government? The people. So the church needs to stand up and take its role as the people and fix things. But you're
Especially since you're the closest to God.
Yep. But you're just
Or
too
are you not so close to God?
but you're just
don't
too
want to
cowardly to get up off
Openly
of that
admit
pew,
you are.
to get out of that pew seat on Sunday because you like your secret club that you get to go to on Sundays. You're afraid to do the work. You're a coward. And I don't care who gets mad at what I just said there.
Hey.
I do not care. This is the direction that we are
Hey.
going in. This is the direction that
I said, hey,
What?
just be careful. That's all.
Oh. This is
Look,
what
I understand you're speaking from the heart here, but I'm just saying.
This is where Christians need to, men and women need to gird their loins and do their freaking job. Okay? The church is meant to be the conscience of this government. It's the way this government was designed. It is the way our forefathers made it. Heck, even the biggest deist who wasn't even a Christian, when they were writing the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights, both times when they were doing that, Benjamin Franklin, yes, the largest deist. He wasn't even a real Christian.
No, he wasn't.
When they were arguing and nobody could agree, he stopped everybody and said, hey, we need to go pray and then come back and do this right. Even he understood it, and he wasn't even a Christian.
And not only that, but he's also the one that said, this country is as free as you, as what is it? What did you say? Here's your
this country is a democratic republic if you can keep it.
So And that based in that when he said that, it wasn't based on whether or not
outside things were going
that
to destroy
we would
us.
fight or that we would quarrel or it would be a battle to fight to keep it. Although now it will be. But the reality is the keeping it part was about the values.
Yep.
He, even as a deist, recognized that the values that this country was founded on, based on God, were only going to be able to keep this country running as long as we
All
would
of
keep
our
the
founding
values.
fathers, all of them, even though they had minuscule things that they argued about in grand scope of things,
Some of them really liked their wigs.
all of them agreed that only this country will stand only if moral men and women are the ones that are working the government.
So
That is it. So, like I said, if you're a Christian, you need to realize that to be a Christian is to be political, because our job is to guide this country to where? Not to anything else or to anybody else, but to guide this country to God and to make sure that we are rooted in God. So, hold on.
I have something to say.
Okay.
Before you
I was
close
going
out.
to go through the closeout.
I know. I knew you had. I said, but I have one more thing to add too.
I'll let the pastor go one more.
Because again, closing this thing out with the right other thing is this basic truth. If you are a parent and you love your kids,
Yep.
it's time to fight for them.
Absolutely.
It's
I've
time
been
to fight for them.
fighting for a
And I'm
long
going to
time.
tell you, if you don't go to church, you're not a Christian. I don't believe in God. You're one of those parents. Oh, I'm going to raise my kid to let him be, whatever he wants to be or whatever.
He wants to be a kitty and use the litter box.
I'm going to encourage you. Whatever hurts have happened to you from the church, whatever things have done damage to you in the past that have made you feel that way, put them aside for a little bit. Look at that kid in the eyes and say to yourself, I want the best for them. I want the absolute best. I'm not going to settle for less. I want the best. And then I want you to go try to find a church that's going to love you the way you love your kids.
And love you enough to tell you the truth that you may
And
not be
then,
willing to hear.
Once you're there, start loving your kid the way that church loves you.
Mm-hmm.
And see if there's a difference. Because I can guarantee you, once you see the difference come not just through you, but through your kids, you're going to realize what travesty you almost put your children through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they'll be thanking you in the end of the day.
Amen.
It's that important.
All right, guys. We realize there's a lot going on in this world. We know there's a lot of dark times. We realize that, even my own personal life, since we started this series and a lot of other things that I have decided to finally do that God has been asking me to do for years.
Obedience is better than
that
sacrifice.
I fought against because I don't like those things. Not don't like. I'm being cryptic on purpose because y'all don't need to know everything. But there are certain things in my life that I'm finally deciding to do and declaring in my life, things that God has wanted to do for a long time. We've all been attacked. All three of us have been attacked by many outside things. You're being attacked by many outside things. So if you're being attacked and things are going awry and things ain't going the way that you have always thought God was going to do things, contact us through the email address. Give us your prayer requests, and we'll pray. We may not have an answer for you, but we can pray that God sends you that answer that you need, and he does so in a clarifying way that you, without a shadow of a doubt, no matter what's going on. So send your prayer requests. We will be glad to pray. Our founding pastor always had a saying, when the saints start praying, they ain't got a chance. So, and we always know that if you want to overcome something, prayer is one of the biggest things you got to do in order to overcome
Powerful
them.
weapon.
So go into the link tree, go into the email address, send us that. Also, all the other forms of social media are on there if you want to follow us. Please like, share, pound the like button, pound that share button, hit the notifiers, invite more and more people to watch this, whether on the lives when we do it or later after they're put up on YouTube or in other areas.
Rumble.
Please, we're on Rumble. We're on all other ways, so do that as well. And lastly, guys, just fight harder. We need each other to fight, and don't hold back. And we will be here in 2 weeks. What's that going to be? March 28th. We will be here at the corner of Church and State for, are we talking about the police? Bringing God back into our laws and justice?
Yes, I think so.
That is where we are on it. Yeah, it's the police. The one after that is SCOTUS.
Yes.
So we are going to that is the next thing. Look, we ain't gonna hold punches just like we haven't in these last two ones. So, you know where to find us. Same place, same time, right here at the corner of Church and State. I hope y'all have a good one. Have a good night. And God bless.
God bless.
Peace.
Can't help it, I just seem to see the world different. It ain't Republicans or liberals, it's mental illness. The internet is only interested in left opinions. Cancel culture's got more power lately than the First Amendment. If you don't like it, leave. We will not defund police. We don't want no riots in our neighborhoods or in the streets. We respect freedom of speech. We protect what we believe. We don't want nobody dead, so please do not tread on me. In America.